for the Board of Education. Obviously, a group of leaders in our community that are very close to our heart and our business community's hearts, because we care deeply about the partnership with Jefferson Public Schools, making sure that we have good programming that leads to our future workforce. So we are going to have a series of conversations today where we'll get to meet all of the different candidates and hear a little bit more about them, just so you kind of know what the flow is for today. Each race is going to be called one at a time. We're going to start with District 1, then 2, and then move to District 5. Each candidate is going to be given a minute to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about why they're running, who they are. And then we draw 3 questions from the mystery bowl here. So they saw the questions, but they don't know which questions they're getting. So that's the fun of it, that they get to be surprised by what they have to answer. After that, we do what is my favorite part, is our fire round questions. We believe it's really important to recognize all of our candidates as the amazing people they are. So we ask personal questions, not super personal, don't worry. Too deep here, but we are going to get to know you a little bit better at that level. So those are 1-sentence answers. So the long form questions take 90 seconds. The fire round is 1 sentence. I don't think I need to tell this audience this, but of course, we're all here because we care about our community. And I know that we all come with different views of how that looks, but we all have that same root of caring about our community. So I know we'll all show up with that advice. So I appreciate that as we jump into today's conversation. Sound good? Yeah. All right, let's get going. So I'm going to invite up first District 1, which is Michael Yocum, and Sabine. Echeverria? Echeverria. Echeverria. Okay. Awesome. Well, come on up, both of you. Let's give them a round of applause. Try to keep the energy up today. Thank you. I appreciate it. Amazing. All right. Michael, I'm going to start with you. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you should run for Jefferson Board of Education.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hosting us. Thanks for having us all here. It's an honor to be here. I know a lot of friendly faces in the room, so that's really nice for me. So I'm running because I am from Jeffco schools, right? So I was born and raised here, went through all of Jeffco public schools from elementary school to high school, finally culminating in me graduating from Wilson Valley in Orange County. So I had the privilege and the honor to truly see Jeffco schools through and through. Additionally, I have a lot of family who's worked in Jeffco schools. So from not only am I seeing it from a student's perspective, but I have my grandparents were both former educators who retired from Jeffco. My mother is a current admin in Jeffco, and with that has come some unique perspectives. I've been able to see a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. Additionally, for the last 10 years, I've been on the advisory board for Warren Tech. So I've been able to see how policy decisions are being made, where certain things are falling short, at least on the CTE side, what we can do to step up. And it's been really an honor for me to do that. I
didn't say this, but Allie's going to let you know when you get close. So you trust her that you won't.
I was like, first time, second to believe it.
Awesome. All right, Sabine, take it away.
Good morning. Thank you to the Arvada Chamber of Commerce for being here today. My name is Dr. Danina Echeverria, and I'm honored to be running for the Jeffco School Board. I'm running because I'm a mom of a 2022 graduate, a current 9th grader, and a 2-year-old future class of 2042. Running because I'm an educator. For nearly 2 decades, I've served as a classified employee, a teacher, an instructional coach, and an administrator. I've worked with multilingual learners, gifted students, and students in special education. And I'm running because I'm a nonprofit leader and former small business owner who understands fiscal responsibility and the importance of strong partnerships with families, staff, and our community. I want what's best for our children today and for generations to come, and I'd be honored to earn your support and your votes. Good day.
Hey, let's give them a round of applause. This is the hard part. So we're going to go into the questions. As a reminder, you have 90 seconds each. You're going to get the same question. So I'll read it, and then you both get a chance to answer. Again, Allie is there. She will kindly remind you where you are. There's 30 seconds left, and you need to stop. So just wrap up the sentence. You don't have to be weird and abrupt. You can wrap up your sentence. Is that fair? Okay. All right, here we go.
Keep it weird.
I know. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were like, have fun, right? We need to have more fun in life and be silly and weird. So we're here for that. All right, with that, let's ask a very serious question. What are your priorities for investing limited funds to achieve the best outcomes for students? Janine, I'm going to start with you first.
Alrighty, give me a second, I prepared. Give me one moment, sorry.
I'll read it one more time while you're preparing. What are your priorities for investing limited funds to achieve the best outcomes for students?
Sure. All right. We all know that Jeffco is facing the possibility of significant cuts because of federal and state funding changes. These are really tough realities. As a former single mom, I learned what it meant to stretch every dollar and live without the extras. In addition to teaching full time, I became a small business owner and I was responsible for the bottom line. Both experiences taught me a very important lesson, and that is how we spend our money is a direct reflection of what we prioritize. For me, those priorities are clear. I want to ensure the programs that we fund truly work for students, that our teachers and our staff are well supported, and that our district invests in evidence-based strategies with proven outcomes. From my time in the classroom, I know firsthand the power of tutoring and small group instruction. When a child has the chance to get more individualized attention, their confidence and achievement grow. That's why, in addition to investing in our educators, we must also invest in our support staff who play a critical role in our classrooms. I believe that before we make any budget decisions, we need to fully engage our community. Families and staff deserve to know what's happening and deserve to have a voice in the process. That dialogue will help us prioritize in a way that reflects our shared values. And if cuts do become necessary, I continue to desire to keep those cuts as far away from the classrooms as possible. Protecting teaching and learning must always come first. Thank you.
Yeah, to start with, I want to say, I think we need to focus on keeping it as close to the students as possible. Any money, we need to keep it as close to the students as possible. Budget cuts, we're going to have to look district-wide. I mean, there's a $60 million deficit that we're going to be inheriting. So we're going to have to make hard decisions. That being said, we need to prioritize students first and foremost. We need to make sure that we're being upfront and transparent as well. I think that transparency is something that the district is lacking when it comes to why budget decisions have been made. A two-way conversation has not been had with both communities and all the different stakeholders. So having that honest, transparent conversation with them about where we're at with the budget, why we're making the decisions we're making, and making sure that we're keeping it as far away from students and hopefully teachers as possible is where we need to be. Additionally, I think it's going to be really important that we're looking at unique ways to bring in funding, unique ways to talk to the districts, talk to partners, community stakeholders. I think by and large, everyone in Jeffco loves Jeffco. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to work with the community to help figure this out and rebuild that trust and ultimately, hopefully be able to reach out and get additional funding for either a mill or something, but we're going to have to make hard decisions. We're going to need community support and trust. Okay.
That's perfect. All righty, let's see. Next question, and Michael, you're going to start this time, is what does High School Reimagine mean to you? How would you define success for this initiative?
Yeah, so High School Reimagine, that for those of you that don't know, is built around the idea that high school needs to have new, unique pathways, more diverse options, right? And so for me, as a graduate of Warren Tech, I love the idea and I love what it means and stands for. Warren Tech does a lot for kids, and programs like it are incredible. My focus with High School Reimagine and a success story for that would be us entering a place where not only are students leaving the school with a clear path in mind, whether it's college or a career, but also with the skills and resources to actually achieve that. So making sure whether it's someone wants to go into the trades or wants to go directly into college, they have a truly clear and accessible pathway to do it. We need to make sure that as many students have as many options as possible, and I think that's where High School Reimagine is going to come into play. A true success story with that would, in my mind, mean that every student has the opportunity to go into the world successfully.
Thanks, Michael. Good question. Thanks. High School Reimagine means that every student is engaged. but it doesn't begin in high school. I taught elementary school most of my life, and if the student enters ninth grade, reading at a fifth grade level, those opportunities might not be accessible to them. That's why we need to begin much earlier, making sure every child has a strong foundation in the basics. Then once they reach high school, they can truly take advantage of exploring the career and college pathways, discovering subjects that inspire them or experiences that help them realize what they do and don't want to pursue. High School Reimagines gives students a chance to try new skills and practice them in a safe environment. In Jeffco, we are fortunate to offer a wide range of options from highly structured programs like Diabloin to innovative models like the Montessori Farm School. To Warren Tech's phenomenal career and workforce readiness programs, we have so much here. We also provide gifted pathways and critical supports for our multilingual learners and our special education students. Across the district, the focus is the same, ensuring that all students are prepared for college and the workforce. As a school board member, I will work to expand these opportunities and build on the strong partnerships you've started here at the Arvada Chamber of Commerce. Together with our business community, we can ensure that every Jeffco student graduates with the skills and confidence to thrive in whichever path they choose. Thank you. You are ready. You need to be right here because I can't.
Gonna leave it a little bit. One more long form question and then we get to move into the fun one. All right, here we go. What do you believe, and we're gonna start with you, Deneen, this time. What do you believe are the district's greatest strengths and how can they be leveraged to overcome current or future challenges?
Sure. All right. I think the district, I know because I'm a mom, but the district has a lot of really great strengths. What I'm going to focus on is the kind of the strength of our people and fostering that trust in community. So as a community member who has experienced firsthand the trauma of our neighborhood school closing, I understand the strength of a community behind Jeffco. So being in that neighborhood, we really came together during school closure. I understand how deeply these decisions affect families. While I appreciate that the board had to do the hard work and make those hard decisions, I really would focus on engaging in the community, engaging parents, engaging families in these decisions that are being made. As a teacher, I worked with classrooms that included multilingual learners, gifted students, students with medical needs, special ed students, sometimes with more than 5 reading levels in the same room. And so that experience taught me that parents and community partners need us to engage in many different ways and that our district must be responsive. We must partner with parents, honor and support our staff, and invest in programs that improve academic achievement for all. Thank you.
Any questions for you, Michael?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love that Deneen mentioned the community because I agree. I think one of our strongest elements is Jeffco's community at large. And within that, I think in order for us to utilize that, we have to rebuild the trust first and foremost. Now, for me personally, the strength that I see is Warren Tech and it's the CT program. So Jeffco has done incredibly with building up a CTE program that allows kids to pursue things that most school districts wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. So it's incredible to see things like fire science and students being able to go directly into aviation and engineering and stuff that they shouldn't be able to leave high school on paper, at least. They shouldn't be leaving high school with this level of accreditation and this level of success and entering into mines as a junior or entering into these programs. Like, it's incredible. So for me, Warren Tech is by far the biggest strength. Utilizing that and the connections that come from it is, and the community that's around it, I think is also what's going to be going for.
All right, we're going to move into fire round, which is a reminder that means you have 10 seconds or less to answer your question. So it is about 1 sentence. 1 10 seconds equates to, okay? All right, so we're going to start with you, Michael. What career did you want when you were a child?
I wanted to be a super spy.
I hope you still practice that. I mean, how about you?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I developed an allergy, so now I invest all my time in helping kids, not animals.
Okay, starting with you, Janine. What teacher in your life had the most significant impact on you and why?
My mom was my first teacher. She went back for her bachelor's degree in high school and showed me the importance of education.
Where are you gonna go?
Nate Olson, he is the STEM instructor at Warren Tech, and he brought me back to education as well. So.
Okay. Thank you. What is a book that you have read recently that you would recommend to others?
Okay, so I just finished the Odyssey. I don't know if you guys would like to read that. I love the book, but it's a dense book.
That is solid. I love it. Me, how about you?
Recently, I read Servant Leadership, reinforced that leadership is putting people first.
Nice to meet you. Dr. Europe still. What's one thing people might be surprised to learn about
I am an experiential learner. I've been to all 50 states, started over, hit 26 again this summer. And I love my learning through experience.
you? Amazing. Yeah.
Normally, I'm just going to use this one. I worked with NASA through Warren Tech and had the opportunity to study and work with NASA along.
Last question, if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about our schools or education, what would it be?
Accessibility, making it so that every kid can have a true valuable experience.
If I could wave a magic wand, I'd ensure every child gets a year's worth of learning and the confidence to feel like they can conquer anything.
Let's give them a huge round of applause. Well done. Amazing. Thank you for setting the stage for us today. Amazing. All right, we're going to move to District 2. So I will go ahead and I invite Samuel Byram and Peter Gibbons. Grab a seat at the table and we'll get started. I will offer for all of you, feel free if at any point you need to get up and refill your coffee, grab a water. These coolers are free reign here. There is beer and wine, but it's probably a little early for
Big question, because I don't know what District 1 and District 2.
This goes with you. Sam, start with you.
I tried to do
A
that.
minute and so tell us who you are and why you should.
So.
My name is Sam. I'm with all three. People think I'm a little silly wearing this, but I'm in schools every day with kids. And by the way, thank you all for doing this for us. And I make a difference just by making kids smile. And that's one thing we need to put back in the schools. I've been volunteering for 44 years. I have close to 35,000 hours volunteering in the schools. And I think that that's one thing that the schools really need a lot more of, are volunteers. And for myself, I had one son who graduated from Jefferson. I had two grandkids who graduated from Jefferson, and I have an 8th grader now in Jefferson. And I think that we need to support our neighborhood schools and make them as successful as all the other schools. Jefferson struggles, but I think we need to put more people in the schools, smiling faces.
Thanks. My name's Peter Gibbons, excited to be running for Jeffco School Board. I'm running for several reasons, and here's a few. First, I'm a proud parent of a Jeffco student. I want to make sure that my son and other students continue to receive the best education they can. But I've also, as a parent, I've had difficulties and frustration trying to work with the district, trying to understand how the district functions. And as somebody who has a few degrees and works in a professional capacity, I think about those parents who maybe don't have the resources that I do to navigate some difficult processes in the district. I'm also proud to be the son of a public school teacher, and my mother later left the classroom to work for the Teachers Association, including JCBA. I know how hard educators work. I know how underpaid they are. I know how important it is to do a better job of attracting and retaining the best educators. And then finally, through all of my professional experiences, I'm currently a practicing attorney. I have experience in the labor movement, dealing with labor management disputes, including several that I helped successfully resolve. I know how important it is to have transparency. I know how important it is to have better accountability for decision making. And I know how important it is to get stakeholders sitting together at the same table, having two-way communication. I want to work for that as a school board.
Thank you. So we're going to move into the long form questions, which again, if you have 90 seconds, you know where Allie is. So just kind of look up occasionally, make sure she's not trying to catch your attention. Peter, we're going to start with you on the first question. All right, here we go. Oh, if I can get it the right way. How will you ensure effective fiscal stewardship, and what is your stance on prioritizing cuts to minimize impact on classroom and teacher quality?
Great question. So I think, I talked a moment ago about transparency. I think that fiscal stewardship and kind of the budgeting challenges that we're facing starts with that transparency. We need the community engaged in the process, and we need the community understanding the difficult decisions that the school board's going to be faced with. And they are going to be difficult. There's no easy decisions coming up. The board's going to be faced with a series of decisions, all of which are terrible, all of which are going to be very challenging and difficult, and the community needs to be on the same page about what decisions are being made and why. In terms of how we navigate that process, I think we've heard it before, and I think we'll hear it again more this morning, that we need to prioritize funding at the classroom level and in the schools. The teachers, the staff, the people that are working directly with our students, that's the last place we come. We need to find cost savings elsewhere. We need to find creative funding solutions to kind of fill those gaps to make sure that our students really don't feel these cuts, that the people that are working with our students have the resources that they need to give our students the best education possible. And that might mean, getting back to basics. There's times where we may indulge in some fancy programs that are not actually essential in how we educate students. That may mean going to, I think it was actually necessary that we go to the voters about a mill levy override and the local funding ways to kind of close some of the budget shortfalls that we're in for quite a while now into the foreseeable.
Question? Read the question again? Sure. All right. The question is, how will you ensure effective fiscal stewardship, and what is your stance on prioritizing cuts to minimize impact on classrooms and teachers?
Well, I don't think we need to cut anything in the classrooms, except for maybe consultants. I see the district hires a lot of outside consultants. And I think that they need to start at the top. I see a lot of expert administration, all the teachers that I've talked to, and I know a lot of them, they see so much above them. And all these administrators, I don't feel they're as effective, and the money could be better spent in the classroom. And I think that I want to bring back shop classes in middle school, in the schools. We spend a fortune taking kids from their school to Warren Techs, which are great schools, don't get me wrong. But if we had some of those in the middle schools, that would hook these kids into schools, because we lose a lot of kids because they do not have an elective they like. Even bring back home ec. So many of our kids will not even teach them, they didn't even know how to boil water. We need to do something to make these kids want to go to school, want to graduate, and you start in middle school. If you lose them in middle school, you lose them for life. And I really feel that we need to do it, and we can get the community say, hey, how about, you're a contractor, how about buying a metal shop class in this middle school or in a different one? Let's do the community involved. They got some money and they have a vested interest in where our kids go after high school.
All right, Sam, you can speak the floor with this question. What are your top, okay, we'll keep the question then. What are your top priorities for improving safety in our schools, both physically and emotionally?
Well, like I said, I'm in the schools every day, and I see the blue shirts who are our security. They're very effective, and the more of them they are, and SROs are important, and it's hard to get enough security in schools. But the other thing that I think, and some people have mocked me for this, but I want to bring in grandma and grandpa. In the Indianapolis inner city schools, the black inner city schools in the 90s, they brought in grandma and grandma, and grandma and grandpa, and they made an atmospheric change in the schools. People make fun of your parents, but they never make fun of grandma and grandpa. Although you almost monitor, but no, it's more eyes and ears to the school, but it's also the friendly faces. How many of these kids, when we have these student shootings, are lonely, or they've been made fun of by other people? But when you have tutors that are grandparents, people walking the halls, working the shop classes, whatever we can do, we need that kind of people in school. That's an experienced bunch of wisdom and people with wisdom that we aren't utilizing in our communities. I mean, a lot of not working, but we don't have a pathway to even get to people. I'm a grandpa, and I'm in the schools. I make a little difference. And that's what I think that all these grandparents in the schools, they could make a big difference if we brought them in and helped with the atmosphere.
Peter, same question. Do you want me to reread it? Sure. Okay. What are your top priorities for improving safety in our schools, both physically and emotionally?
So yeah, this was an important question before the tragedy a few weeks ago, and that's just further highlighting how important it is. Obviously, we do need to continue to look at physical safety, and I think we'll learn more about what did or didn't work in evergreen, although I'm hearing some amazing things about how students and people responded incredibly quickly to that type of event. But I think also we do have to really emphasize and maintain our focus on mental health and sort of social and emotional supports. Some of us are actually up there. One of the things I was, struck by, and I think it's important to keep in mind, there was a parent there that knew that shooter and knew how much that shooter had struggled for years. And was like, we failed him just as much as we failed the kids that were victims of. So we really need to make sure that we're looking at the whole student and that we're looking at students for years, making sure that no more kids will have problems. And one of the things I learned about up there is that, there's an elementary school up there that they've done an excellent job of really having an entire culture and program that's school-wide around mental health. And everybody in the building is listed in that process, and it's really an entire cultural shift. So not only is everybody in the building looking at the students' emotional health, because it's something that's ingrained in that culture, they're removing taboos. Students themselves feel safer and more supported to approaching adults, approaching the support figures in their lives for help. So I think we need to look at those types of programs and figure out ways that we can identify those best practices and help other schools in the district to put those in place in ways that make sense to those schools as well.
Peter, you're going to start us on this last long-form question. What approaches would you use to foster trust, transparency, and healthy communication between the district, families, and the broader community?
Excellent question. And something that was a big reason that I wanted to run. I think we need much more community engagement. And I think a big part of that is going to be the board members themselves and other leadership figures in the district need to go out into the community more, have engaging two-way conversations with the community, whether that's a group like here or other community groups that have been hosting these forums. We need to do a better job of going out with them. If you've ever been to a board meeting, and I think everybody should go, one of the things you'll see is that there really isn't a real opportunity for two-way conversation. And that's not a criticism of the board today and how they're operating. There's practical constraints to that forum. But what it does say is that, okay, if in that particular setting, we can't have the type of conversations we need to create other opportunities for those conversations to occur. And then as part of that, though, the existing board, the board, district leadership need to actually be willing to sort of hear what comes back, need to be willing to ask questions of different stakeholders, no matter what those names might be. And that's something that I'd really be doing as board members, going out, asking questions of groups that often aren't talked to, asking questions that often aren't asked because people don't want to hear the answers, and then being prepared for having those tough conversations and finding ways to take those community concerns and actually integrate them into a better policy for the district.
Same question to you.
One thing, I agree with this guy. I don't know if I should. Getting the community involved. You get the community involved physically and monetarily. Like I said, we want to put these shop classes back in. We'll name a classroom after your business, like they did out in Commerce City. But the community needs to have a pathway. Everybody needs to be in the schools. I don't see visitors in our schools. I don't see volunteers in our schools. How do we get more people? How do we have a pathway to get the community into our schools? And at the school board meeting, there's no way to have two-way communication going. They need to have more, like at city council meetings that I've gone to and things. That's the way to do it. But you got to have total transparency. We're spending our money. We bought all this consulting. What did the consultant give us? A lot of platitudes. We don't need that. We need solid answers to how to get the community involved in our schools. And I say one of them is have more open house. Come on in. Come see what our school is like. For some of the people in the school system and are afraid to see, they don't want people to see how the sausage is made. And we need to be able to have people come into the schools and see how the classrooms work. Come in and observe. And I won't agree with them much more, but I did like what he said.
All right. Well, good job. You completed the long form question. So let's move into that fire round set. So again, one sentence, 10 seconds. I know it's really hard. We do accept run-on sentences. So, first question, and we're starting with you, Sam, is what career did you want when you were a kid?
I want to be a teacher. My parents were both teachers. My dad had the double doctorate, and I wanted to get into the schools and make a difference.
Peter, how about you?
I had so many careers that I wanted when I was growing up, but one of the themes was writing. And although I'm not writing the great American novel as a lawyer, I basically write for a living. So kind of came.
Peter, stay with you. What teacher in your life had the most significant impact on you and why?
I don't know if I could just pick one because I had so many great ones, but one I was thinking about recently, he just died, was my freshman geography teacher, Mr. Nichols. And he had us do a project called the World Citizens Essay, where we had to write a fictional conversation between several world citizens. He gave us a list to choose from. And you had to incorporate, I forget how many, but a minimum number of actual quotes from each citizen for that conversation. I don't think I worked harder on anything than that essay.
Same question.
Well, again, I'm going to say Dr. and Mrs. Myron. My parents, they were in my life every day, and my dad would go around the world and recruit students for the seminary. And then, of course, my mom, and of course, she got sick young, and I learned how to cook, but we would have all these people at our Sunday dinner from all around the world. So I got to broaden my horizons of what the world truly was, and I wanted to follow their examples.
Same with you, Sam. What book have you read recently you've recommended to others?
The Line of Splendor by Nathaniel Green. Probably most people not heard of him. He was the Revolutionary War general, and the sacrifices, this book shows the sacrifices all these people made to found this country.
Same question to you.
I somewhat recently decided to read and finished War and Peace. And it took me a really long time to read it, and it was absolutely amazing. I totally understand why it is the great novel that it is.
All right, Peter, what is one thing about you that people might be surprised to learn?
One thing, I mean, I would think there's probably several, given how little we get talked one thing about me that people would be surprised to learn. My dad spent decades in the martial arts business for the karate school. So I actually grew up in a karate school, which most people would not guess when they see me in court with blazers and all that stuff that I grew up in sweating karate school, push-ups and kicking punching bags.
So I hear don't mess with
Well, not quite the
Okay. Same question, Sam. What would be surprising?
I'm an artist. I'm an accomplished artist. I've been selling art since I was 15 years old. There used to be a house at 26 in Wadsworth across from Bethany Baptist Church. That was one of my first paintings. And I sold it for $50 when I was 15 years old. And now I don't have a hand art to paint with, but I do collage. All different kind of collage.
All right, then last question. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about our schools or education system, what would it be?
On the recording, I would put shop classes and electives back into every single middle school.
Yes, you've got your message. We got that. Amazing. Peter, how about you?
It's hard to pick just one thing, but I think a lot about our educators, many of whom can't afford to buy houses, and I would change how we actually compensate our educators. I think we did a better job of it. It would immediately affect the quality of education.
Amazing. Let's give both of them a big round of applause. Take your seat again. Take a breath. We're going to bring out District 5. With us today, we have Terry Rascott and Mary Parker. Unfortunately, Tina was not able to join us through this scheduling, but we will show a brief video from her after we do the Q&A piece of it. Welcome. So same deal, and Terry, we're going to start with you. Take about a minute. Tell us a little bit about you and why you chose to run.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Terry Rascone, and I'm running for District 5. I'm running because our schools are in crisis and our children deserve better. I'm a mom to 3 kids, And I believe in the value of a great quality education. I have an MBA and a BBA in accounting. I am an Army retired veteran. I'm also a former foster mom to over a dozen children. And I believe that we need change. I will be the last one on the ballot. Some of my priorities are, I want safe schools. I also want financial responsibility to restore academic excellence and also to support our teachers. And that is all. Mary, how about you?
My name is Mary Parker, and I currently serve as president of the Jefferson School Board. I have 2 daughters who are Jefferson teachers, and I have 4 granddaughters who attend or have graduated from Jefferson. And it has been a work of love for me the last 4 years on the board. I have visited dozens of schools. I've ridden on the school buses. I have worked in the cafeterias with the cafeteria staff and prepared lunches. I have answered thousands of emails and attended hundreds of school events, orchestra, concerts, athletic events. I have loved the work I've done, and I'm looking forward to doing some more of it. I have been a court-appointed special advocate working with neglected and abused children for the last 18 years. And I just know the importance of school in our children's lives, and I want to do everything I can to continue the work.
Right, we're gonna go into the questions again, 90 seconds to answer. Mary, we're gonna start with you first. And the first question is, what partnerships do you envision between Jeffco Public Schools and local businesses to enhance work-based learning, internships, and career exploration for students?
This is a great question because right here we've got this partnership. The Arvada, Greater Arvada, I should say, Chamber of Commerce now has been such a good partner to Jeffco Schools. We've had a lot of combination events with you, and you have supported us by having your membership know about us and assist there. Also, we have the EDC, the Economic Development Council works with us as well. So their businesses know about Jeffco Schools opportunities to partner with us. Down south, District 5 is in the southern part of Jeffco. We have a Warren Tech South, and we have an aeronautics program. So Lockheed Martin comes in and helps our kids. And the high school reimagined question that we had earlier, that's what it's all about, having partnerships, career options, mentorships, internships. I think that's what hooks kids to come to school. And one of the highlights we have in the last year is we have discovered that our high-risk students, those living in poverty, of those students who took CTE classes, career technology education, if they had at least 3 classes, their graduation rate was 93%. That was higher than our average graduation rate. And typically, average students have much lower graduation.
Okay, to prepare students for life beyond graduation, I envision robust partnerships with Jefferson County Schools and local businesses that bring career technical education and internships and work-based training directly into our schools. I want to launch pilot programs, especially in schools that might be closing, like Jefferson Junior Senior High School, in order to stabilize enrollment for real world pathways in high demand fields like healthcare, technology, and the skilled trades. I want to collaborate with industries, trade unions, colleges. I also want apprenticeships and professional development pipelines that not only prepare students for future-ready careers, but they also support teacher recruitment in the high-need areas. These partnerships will be guided by community engagement and data-driven metrics. It means aligning the programs with workforce needs and boosting academic relevance in core subjects like math and science, and attracting families who want meaningful opportunities for their kids. It's not just about job training, it's about strengthening lives when we do this, because we prepare them And you also build economic ties to strengthen our district stability, and we give every student a chance.
All right, next question, Terry, you're gonna kick us off this time. In your opinion, what should be the top priorities for the district in the next 5 years and why?
In the next 5 years, I believe the top priorities must be restoring student safety and trust, and also achieving academic excellence and making sure that we are fiscally responsible, because they directly shape our students' futures. I believe that safety and accountability, they have to come first. If it's not safe, students won't learn. We have over 33 staff misconduct cases since 2022. We need urgent reform. We have to act boldly. I want to support data-driven tutoring also to restore academic recovery, because currently we're monitoring that 52% of students are proficient in English and less are proficient in math. We need to have data-driven metrics, targeted interventions, and proven strategies. Third, fiscal responsibility is crucial. We have a $39 to $60 million budget deficit. We need zero-based budgeting, and these have to be community-guided decisions so that we could protect those vital and essential programs like special education. And we also have to career pathways and cutting rates.
Very same question for you.
Well, unfortunately, I would have to agree that safety is the #1 priority for me in Jefferson schools. I do have the endorsement from every town for gun safety. When I first ran for the board in 2021, it was a high priority for me now. I think it's a national disgrace that our students don't feel safe going to school, but they're afraid to go to school. And when I heard earlier this idea, it would be so nice to have more people in our schools, more community and whatever. You know what? I wish they did have them as well. There are other countries. We had someone come in from Australia and said, I don't understand why you have these locks on the doors and I have to push a button. I'm used to going into my school, going into the classroom with my kids. And unfortunately, we can't do that in the United States because you have to do some kind of check coming into the school. I do believe that this is a societal problem. We need to have the help of the state and the country. My second priority is to attract and retain high quality instruction and educators, because the basic components of an education are teachers and students. And then finally, fiscal responsibility and fiscal sustainability. We can't do any of the things that we want for our children if we don't.
Now we're going to keep the floor to you. We have one repeat question, okay? So you're going to get a little duplicate here, but it's very exciting to hear different answers. All right. How will you ensure effective fiscal stewardship, and what is your stance on prioritizing cuts to minimize impact on the classroom quality?
This past summer, I worked on a subcommittee from the board, where two of us working with some district leaders on how to prepare for our budget reduction we have. And so we started out with a survey comparing us to other peer districts in Colorado and also across the nation. So the first thing we wanted to do is find out, how do we compare? Where are we spending our money? Is it in line with the other districts? And we were focusing on the high level, the admin, the operational center office. And I think that's where we had to start. That was the right place to start. And we did find some places. Security is a place where we spend more than other districts, but unfortunately, Jeffco, we have to do that. We also found that IT is another area we're spending more than other districts. It means we have world-class IT and technical support, and that's a wonderful thing, but it's a place that we might be able to invest. So we started at the top. We're looking at central office, and then we're working on down when we get to the schools, and we have to make cuts there. We are going to prioritize support for smaller schools. They don't have the resources that other schools have. We want to protect them, not have as many cuts in a school that is already struggling.
Same question, right? As a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, it's a process improvement expert. I've done these cuts in the military in our Army's recruiting program for special mission program. And I want to do the same thing for Jeffco's fiscal stewardship. I want to do it with zero-based budgeting to eliminate waste and refocus our money on the student and ensure every dollar goes to student success. We have a $60 million shortfall, and we shouldn't just make across the board cuts. We have to protect essentials like tutoring, counseling, and teacher initiatives. These programs directly impact learning and well-being, and cutting them is going to compromise quality and trust. Instead, I want to prioritize strategic reductions outside of the classroom, guided by your input, the community, and data. And I want to tie funding to results using key performance indicators in our revitalized strategic plan. I also want to conduct independent audits to maintain transparency and accountability. Effective stewardship, it's not just about balancing budgets, it's about making values visible in every decision. I want to protect what matters most and engage families and engage the educators in the process. I also want to build a district that's financially sound and academically strong. It matters to our community.
Okay, good. And we're going to move into the fire round questions. You have 10 seconds or one sentence, however you want to frame. The first question, Terry, you're going to start us with is what career did you want as a kid?
I was all over the place as a kid. I wanted to be a fashion designer and a pilot, and it depended. Whatever I saw, I liked. So.
Okay. Well, I was surprised Michael said this. I also wanted to be a spy.
That was fun. Favorite question to ask. I wanted to be a weather girl, so I tell people if I awkwardly talk to you about the weather. All right, Mary, starting with you this time. What teacher in your life has the most significant impact on you and why?
It was my algebra teacher in 9th grade, Mr. Salter. He made me believe that I was really good at math. Now I know I wasn't.
Terry, same question.
It was in the 5th grade, Mr. Knox. I am a southpaw, and he saw that I used to write like this. So he pulled me before class and taught me to write properly, so it doesn't look weird. But he also really gave me a winning mindset. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. He took his time out to do that, and I love those times.
Yeah. If you can use Zoom service for your phone, that's what happens. Cool. I will mute that next time. All right. So Terry, same question, same on you. What is a book you've read recently that you would recommend to others?
I read two. It's The Connected Parent and The Connected Child by Karen Purvis. And it's wonderful. As a former foster mom and running for board, I think all of us have trauma. And you learn how to deal with being a better parent.
I read Becoming Madam Secretary. It's a historical biography about Frances Perkins, the first female member of a cabinet under FDR, and she's the one who got us Social Security.
All right, question to you is what is one thing people might be surprised to learn about?
I actually did once work for the CIA.
Wow. Okay, very cool.
I've been to so many countries that I don't even know exactly because there's, did I go over on a plane? Does that count? Was I just in the airport? But I know it's been over 15, so.
Very cool. I love that. Awesome. Last question here, Terry. You're going to start us off. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about our schools or education system, what would it be?
If I could wave a magic wand, I would restore the trust in the schools amongst the community, because when you restore trust, everything and anything is possible.
Mary, how about you? If I had a magic wand, I would have every student graduating from K-12 with a love of learning and a respect for knowledge and understanding of the power of
Thank you. Let's hear from Tina. Oh, one more time. Yeah. Tina, and then we're gonna round out things. Maybe oh, damn.
Here she is. I'm Tina Moynihan, and I'm running for Jefferson County School Board District 5. I'm running because I think it's important to restore open communication and transparency between the school board and the community. I want to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table and feels seen and heard. To learn more about me and help support my campaign, please visit tinaforjeffcoschools.com. And I hope to have your support and your vote on November 4th.
Right. Let's give all of our candidates for District 5. So as we round out today, we intentionally gave you a few extra minutes, your 15 minutes, so that you can meet and greet with the candidates and ask any individual questions you may have. They also brought materials that if you're interested in learning more, that you can grab their materials. Part of what we did today, and thank you to Ryan from the Chamber team who recorded this. And so we're able to share this far and wide. So if you know somebody who wasn't able to join us live today, they can get this recording, and we'll have a voter guide that comes out with the city council election and a few other resources for all of you as you go into voting. Additionally, we have an upcoming event, which is our State of the Region on October 17th. That's next Friday. Really incredible event where we have Jefferson County Commissioner Rachel Zinzinger, as well as the mayors and all the surrounding cities talking about regionalism and what that looks like. So I'd love for all of you to join us. And then finally on your tables, there are these cards that say join our network. So if you're here, it means that you care about things in the advocacy space, which we love. We have a lot of other work we do in the chamber, from talent to inclusion and belonging to housing and childcare. So if you take a moment and fill that card out, you can just leave it on the table or hand it to a member of our team on your way out. We'll make sure you have the information you need from us on those various areas. With that, a big thank you to all of you. And again, thank you to our candidates. One more round of applause for them. It is and we appreciate all of you. Enjoy the time to talk with each other.